Shalom. It's your brother Iraq giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachak for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Shalom to the elect of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, whom the Lord will have mercy on in these latter days. Shalom to the men of the Lord, the prophets that are preaching and teaching them how his bows in sincerity and in truth. Shalom to you, brothers. I have another quick lesson. This is going in again about the wicked of Esau and the economic warfare he's basically waging on not just Israelites really, but all over, or not just Edomites even, who are who's the so-called white man, but just all over the world, you know, because the U.S. dollar, you know, is a world reserve currency, and lots of countries have debt using the U.S. dollar. It says here U.S. banks are swimming in money. So this is out of Esau's own mouth. Swimming in money as deposits increased by $2 trillion amid the coronavirus. So they're now admitting that these banks are now flushed with cash, with liquidity, and this is a time where, 45 million people are out of work, or at least have filed for unemployment, and that may not even be counting like all the money lost to all the small businesses, But these large banks are flushed with cash. They have $2 trillion surge. It says here a record $2 trillion surge in cash has hit the deposit accounts of U.S. banks since coronavirus first struck in the U.S. In January, according to FDIC data. The wall of money flowing into banks is no precedent in history. You heard that? Because this money is really debt. They're printing it like it's going out of style, and ultimately this is just to crash the dollar, because this man is the ultimate example of wickedness. It says in April alone, deposits grew by 865 billion, more than the previous record for an entire year. Jeez. It says deposit gains were concentrated at the very top of the industry. J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Citigroup grew much faster than smaller firms in the first quarter, according to company data. Now, is that any surprise to anybody? That those are the banks that have all this extra cash and deposits and liquidity. Which liquidity is just, usually it is cash. Cash is a form of liquidity, but liquidity is basically anything that's readily exchangeable for a physical asset or actual asset, or something that has value that's not a medium of exchange like a bond or a note. And in the case of this, they're just printing dollars, U.S. dollars. This is wild. Look at this. This is the deposits here, 12 trillion. And it slowly goes up to January. Then all of a sudden, right after January, going into when the Rona hit, look at that. It just spiked up. And at the same time, if you saw a graph of unemployment would be spiking up just like that too. This is unequivocal proof that this is Satan, and the Most High needs to come back and deal with this man. Let's get a few precepts. It says, this is James 5:1. It says, go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you. Right? Because this money, it's all debt. It's all absolutely just I do debt clock. Look at this, $26 trillion right now and counting. And he has these five banks here that they named. Where are they? Well, yeah, J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America. These banks here, they have absolutely no plans on paying off this debt that you see right here. Zero. This is total U.S. debt, total personal debt, people that Americans own, but really, you're on the hook for all of it. And they have something called unfunded liabilities, which is in the hundreds of trillions. If I can find it on here, I can't remember. A lot of numbers on here, but yeah, either anyway, it's in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. You know, you got student loan debt right here, credit card debt. You know, it's about to hit a trillion. You know, and this whole system is just it's run on witchcraft when you get into it. You know, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days. So this is showing you this is the last days. When it says right here in their own words, uh, the deposits, the wall of money flowing into banks has no precedent in history. Right here, it's showing you we're in those last days. There's never been a moment or an event in time where we've had this much debt heaped onto one nation. You know, and they've gotten other countries into debt along with it too. You know, but we know what Esau's plan is. Ultimately, he's going to wipe out the middle class. You know, he's going to buy up real assets with these fake dollars that he's printing. He's going to buy up real assets. And then once he has those real assets and ownership of them, he's going to do away with the dollar, you know, in its entirety. There's going to be no middle class. It's going to be rich and poor, you know. And this is prime example why this man has to go and get another precept. Habakkuk 2 and 5, you brothers probably heard this one. It says, yea, also, because he transgressed by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, because America is the melting pot, and he's gotten all these nations to drink of that cup. China owns U.S. debt, Russia owns U.S. debt, Japan, everyone trades in the dollar, and it's all debt, you know. As the scriptures say, he enlarges his desire as hell, you know, and is as death, because ultimately this is going to be, uh, as the scriptures say, like in the metaphor, a great millstone hanging around your neck. That debt's going to weigh you down, and eventually it's gonna lead to actual war, you know. Actual world war is gonna pop off, you know. And it says, verse 6, shall not all of these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Now we know that word is not talking about clay. Right there, it's abatya is the Hebrew word, and it means weight of pledges, heavy debts, you know. Now, if you look at this word, uh, if you look at the, not the, is the cross refs? No. Slovakia. I believe it's the, yeah, these are the different translations of it. You have the King James, obviously, this has thick clay. But if you go into like the other ones, like this is the NLT, it says you can become rich by extortion. But how much longer can this go on? You know? And there are guys on Wall Street talking exactly like this, whether they know the scriptures or not, whether they believe in the scriptures or not. They're saying the exact same thing. The US dollar days are numbered. It's nothing but debt, and the more you print of it, the more worthless it becomes. You know? Let's see. It says, woe to him who piles up stolen goods and makes himself wealthy by extortion. How long must this go on? So, hey, Habakkuk saw this exact thing happening and unfolding, through the Spirit, you know. Uh, Last precept, this is Psalm 10 and 2, one of my favorite scriptures because it's so pertinent for this time. It says, the wicked and his pride doeth persecute the poor, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Because this is a persecution of the poor. The average Joe can't print money, And as a matter of fact, even if he figures out a way how to earn money, Esau can just print more money and devalue it. And this is mainly hurting Jake. But the whole world's going to be pissed off at this devil for this, Even his own people over here in Babylon, And ultimately, this is going to lead to World War III, because these other nations are already plotting to lay that wound uh, under this place, as spoken about in Obadiah. They're dumping their debt quietly. They're getting the currencies ready. China's talking about doing an AMP. You have to do a video on that, Lord willing. Salakia. Yeah, this place has got to go, man. So I just wanted to get that. It's nothing new, but just to see when the post and publish how much they're almost like flaunting it. It's a surge of $2 trillion in cash. You know, wild as hell. So I just wanted to get that and share that with you, brothers. Hopefully, y'all were edified. Call Allah Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachakwadash Wa Abab Abal.